Hi guys, this is Sveta Dressmaker. Today we will make another black mini dress, Bella dress. I've made already before another one with an open back and bow, so you can check this tutorial as well. This dress will have tight top and a bit loose skirt in a bell shape, wide shoulder straps, side pockets, invisible zipper on the central back line, and with a lining as well. Behind the camera I have done with the designing part, pattern making, mock-up, fitting and adjusting patterns. Let's see what materials we will need for the project. Patterns, you can find them on my Etsy shop, the link I will attach below in the description. In the pattern set you will find patterns for external main layer and patterns for lining, also the sewing instruction guidebook. You will need main fabric for external layer of dress. I used wool gabardine. I want to provide a voluminous shape, so I suggest to take thicker textile that is not too stretchy and flowy as well. Lining, it can be polyester, satin or viscose. Interfacing for adding firmness, shape and structure for the dress, as it's my own preference. Of course it can be also variable. Invisible zipper, 60 cm of length, sewing threads in the same tone of your fabric. Before to lay out patterns, steam your main external fabric and lining. It will prevent fabric from shrinkage. If you follow general rules, you need to fold your fabric in half, right sides together and selvage to selvage, then lay out patterns. But I try always save my fabric and I fold how much I need and cut one by one patterns. Just make sure grain line on the pattern should be parallel to the selvage of the fabric. Clip notches, tiny little short strokes on the seam allowance of pattern. Also both sides of folded central front line to identify the center of neckline and bottom. When everything is done, take off patterns. There should be external pattern pieces. Interfacing pieces. We will fuse all main fabric pieces except facings, so cut out using external layer patterns. And lining pieces. When you fuse external pattern pieces, place interfacing with the glue side down to the wrong side of external main piece. And give a press. Check if it's fused, sticked well with the main fabric. Repeat the same process for all external main fabric pieces, except front and back facings. Trim uneven outer edges. So let's assemble front and back skirt of external layer. Take front central and front side skirt pieces, place them mirrored and right sides up. Put both front sides on front central, line up edges, pin and sew 1 cm along the edges. Then place back side on back central skirt, right sides together. Pin and sew 1 cm both cut lines. After match up right and left parts of skirts on central backline, sew only bottom part up to the hip line notch. Upper part of central backline keep open for a sewing zipper later. Then press all the seam allowances of front and back assembled parts open. Front and back pieces of lining skirt assemble in the same way. Then place front assembled part on the back, right sides together, and sew side lines 1 cm of seam allowance. Let's sew pockets on the sides of external skirt. On the side front of skirt, copy out the position of the pockets. Place pockets from both sides matching up marked notches. Sew distance between notches, do not step on the seam allowance. Same as well for the back part of skirt. Here's how the seam should look like. Fold back pocket detail right side up. Top stitch 1 mm near first seam between notches as well. As 4 pocket pieces attached to sides of external skirt panels, place front and back match up corresponding seams and notches. Pin around side and pocket detail. Sew only outer contour edge line, leaving entry of pocket not stitched. Seam allowance 1 cm. Press pocket on front panel. Clip seam allowance of back side panel between pocket details. Open up seam allowance and press. Place both front side top panels on front central right sides together, matching up bust notches first. To avoid puckering when you sewing, pin all the way vertical bust line, sew 1 cm away from the edge. Same with other side. Then place back side top panel on the central right sides together, matching up vertical side line. Pin and sew 1 cm away from edge. The seam allowance of the convex vertical bust line of side front piece, which is popping out, trim tiny triangles. Just do not cut through the stitching line. The concave vertical bust line on front central piece, clip just shortly. It will reduce any bulkiness on seam, and then press open. Same do with the back assemble part. Then place back panels on front, right sides together, match sides and shoulder lines, sew 1 cm away from the edges. Press seam allowances open. Front facing match up with the back facing, sew 1 cm shoulder lines and sides. Press seam allowances open. Then assemble back lining in a similar way, matching up back side with back central lining from both sides. Central back line leave not stitched. Same as well with the front side and front central lining pieces. After sew sides as well. Press all seam allowances open. When everything is done, attach assembled facing with the lining top, right sides together. It's a bit tricky way to sew on curves. Try to distribute fabric equal by pinning first. Press seam allowances towards the lining part. Then let's connect top with the bottom of lining, placing parts right sides together and matching up all corresponding vertical seams. Pin and sew 1 cm along the waistline. Same as well with external layer. Seam allowances of waistline of external layer press open. For lining, place towards to hemline. Line up both necklines of lining and external. sew around 1 cm away from the edge. Clip seam allowance around neckline, just do not cut through the stitching line. Then press all seam allowances on facing. You will need to stitch facing 1 mm near first seam with all seam allowances underneath. Fold back neckline and press over, creating an accurate line. For finishing armhole, clip and fold 1 cm of both edges of external and internal layers on the wrong side. Match up by pinning and distributing length around and sew near 2-3 mm, so the edges will be locked inside. Now we need to sew invisible zipper. One side of zipper place face to face on the one of the center back line, stepping down 5 mm. So the plastic stopper should be situated 5 mm down from neckline. Pin one side of the zipper on a 1 cm distance from center back edge. So then hand stitch one side of zipper, then zip it and mark waist level on the another zipper side. Then attach another part as well in the same way. After, you can check again neckline and waist lines. They should be on the same level. So close to zipper teeth, use the pressing foot for invisible zipper. Then lining place over external, lining up central back line. Also hand stitch and sew right near first seam. Turn garment right side out, press flat over zipper. Then hand stitch a little gap below the zipper. For finishing hemline, unstitch 10-15 cm on side line. Throughout of this opening, take the bottom part of dress line up lining and external layer hemlines, matching up all corresponding vertical seams. sew 1 cm away from the edge. Then turn garment right side out. Measure up 3 cm from the edge of the external layer hemline. Then fold and press. In this way, lining will be shorter and hemline will look more accurate. Then top stitch the opening part about 1–2 mm near folded edges. And Bella dress is ready. I will be so glad to see your makes with the hashtag #SvetaDressmaker. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.